I've been emphasizing the concept of reading your Bible a lot. And so this year, to aid my reading my Bible, one of the things I've begun to do, or one of my favorite things I like to do now, is to go on YouTube, or rather, my feed is filled with them, animated stories of the Bible. And there have been two particular stories that have been, would I say, prominent in my Bible, like has been showing me. And things like this is what God used to speak to me, by the way. It is the story of Jericho, the fall of Jericho, and Judah and Tamar. Before December, I didn't even know, like, I obviously knew, when you talk about Judah, 12 tribes of Judah, 12 tribes of Israel, rather, the tribe of Lion of the house of Judah, blah, 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 not blah, 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 you get the gist. When you're talking about, praise to God, you mentioned Lion of the house of Judah, Lion of the tribe of Judah, do you get what I'm saying? And then even when you read about the story of David, he was from, is it the tribe of Judah? I think David was from the tribe of Judah, but please correct me if I'm wrong. And then I look at, I think David was actually from the tribe of Judah. And then, before I even get to that, one thing I didn't even understand is Jericho, in my mind, and this is just a correction, in my mind, I always used to assume Jericho was the place God promised. When God said to Moses that he would take him to a land filled with milk and honey, I always assumed that was Jericho. My mind was, okay, they conquered Jericho and they began to live there. Like, that was the land. But actually, and correct me if I'm wrong again, Jericho was not the land. In fact, Joshua cursed Jericho that no man will be able to build it. And if they build it, cause to be their first child. Until this day, Jericho is actually not still built. Do you understand? And I don't know if this is true, but somebody actually said that Jericho was actually one of the lands in Canaan. That Canaan was, think of it like Canaan was a country. I'm just saying, correct me if I'm wrong. Canaan was a country, and then the city inside it was Jericho. So it was one of the lands that God actually gave them, but Joshua cursed it and blah, 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 blah. See key details that are so important. And one of the things I got from that story specifically was when God asked children of Israel to go around this thing, he didn't ask them to be singing and praising. He asked them to be quiet. And to be honest, till this day, I actually thought that when they went around singing and praising God round. Because, see how I've been deceived. I've been thinking that they went around, they were singing and praising God around the city of Jericho. No, they were not. They were quiet. In fact, they were not to say anything. And they didn't go, another misconception. I'm just proving out a lot of misconceptions here. Another misconception I thought about that story was that first day they went once, second day they went twice, third day they went 3 times. No. First day, all the 6 days they went once. On the 7th day they went 7 times. And it was after the 7th time that they screamed, that they shouted. That's when the wall came down. Few misconceptions. Some of you may look at these things and say, this obviously, it doesn't make a difference, it doesn't matter. But hear me when I say, bro, these little details make all the difference. Now, do you know how crazy that is, that these guys went around and didn't make a single sound? When I say make a decision, they didn't talk, they didn't gist, they didn't say anything. Some of you, if they ask you, just walk around the whole of, let's say, walk around your compound and don't say a word 10 times, you just be like, God told them to walk around the entire city. That's like saying walk around, okay, Ibadan is far. Walk around Yaba, let's just use Yaba. Walk around the entirety of Yaba, or walk around Surulere, and don't make a sound, don't say anything. That the priests will blow trumpets. Insane. And also talk to the Rahab. Rahab was a prostitute. She lied. Some questions that you need to ask. Rahab lied. Lying is a sin. Why is she in heaven? Questions like that and it thought to me also, the soldiers that killed, they committed murder. Yes, they committed it in the name of the Lord, but they committed murder. Is murder not a sin? Now, this is not me doubting God. Hear me, understand. These are just questions I have in my mind. All right? And it's always good to ask questions. But one of the things I do understand about God is, one, and again, these are my own speculations. This is not doctrine. I'd like to state this before I start talking, so that you don't say Maxwell said this, he doesn't know what he's saying. These are just my speculations. There is nowhere in the Bible this is doctrine. Yeah. But when the Lord basically, what puts it this way, when you do things in the name of the Lord, I don't want to say you are absolved, but it's not you doing it, it's God doing it. Here's what I'm saying. Those people that they demolished the Amorites in the name of the Lord, they weren't killing people. God was killing people. God used them as a tool. If you understand what I'm saying. Rahab was saved. Yes, she lied. Agreed. She lied. She told them, they've gone. Well, they haven't. But she was doing it in God's name. Is lying still bad? Yes. But at that point in time, it was a necessity for her salvation. Do you understand? How do I reconcile that? I don't know. But these are just the things that are on my mind. Now, you can pick whatever lessons you may want from this. I'm just saying these things because I feel like it's important for people to know. Another thing is Judah and Tamar. Now, obviously, the story is very simple. Judah had three. So Judah left, Jacob. All right, he left Jacob and his sons. And Bible didn't say why, just said he left. So he left Jacob, his father, and his sons. And then he went to a Canaanite city. Can you see? Canaanite city. And a city where I went to Canaan. Let's not go beyond that. Anyway, he went to Canaan. And he married, somebody. When he married, he had 3 sons. The first son, the Bible said that he was very wicked. God killed him. The second son, the first son obviously had a wife too. And in Hebrew culture, to honor and save the rights of women, they have to be remarried into, their brother's family. And whatever child that comes from that marriage will now be the let's say dead brother's heir. Do you understand what I'm saying? The reason why they do this is to make sure, number one, the family line continues, and number two, that the wife is taken care of. Because in those days, if you're a widow, all right, your needs may not be met. They don't want you to become a prostitute or a harlot or all these things. And the biggest part, so that you're not alone in society. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they believed at that time that it was solely meant to provide. Do you understand? And so if you're a woman, there was not any, high-paying jobs, quote unquote, if I was to use today's language, that you could do at that time. Do you understand? To provide, to work, and all this things. Because the main source of income at that place was agriculture, and you understand, and they didn't believe women should be doing that. It was men. So women not like they were not allowed. First of all, you couldn't even own land to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? As a woman. Some may say, but that's Jewish culture. That's not God. So hold your peace there. Anyway, that's just. So what transpired next was, okay, this guy, that's Judah's second born. He felt like, well, because now let me put this into context. If Tamar is the girl's name, the widow's name. If Tamar gave birth to a son, the inheritance of her dead husband, every single thing actually falls to that son. Whereas if they didn't give birth to a son, everything falls to the second brother. So he was like, you know what? Why don't I usurp, my brother's this thing? So it was a thing of greed, selfishness. And I'm saying this because if I say, the second part of the story is, he was sleeping with her, but every time he wanted to, he was pulling out. Let me put it right. He was pulling out every time. Basically, every time he was about to reach the highest point of worship, he would just withdraw himself. Let me put it like that. So every time he was worshiping with his wife and he wanted to reach the highest point of worship, he would withdraw himself. Do you understand? The Bible even said he spilled his seed on the ground. And obviously he knew it. So thereby making sure that she never got pregnant. There were no condoms at that time. So yeah. And so Tamar was, denied of these things. And then God saw it as a wicked act, and then also killed the second born. Now, Judah, looking at his firstborn being killed, second born being killed, and now the third born is even a baby. He's still, not baby, but he was a small boy. He's now growing. He now said, if I marry this one, she will also kill him too, because he didn't believe she was killing them. But obviously, if somebody married your first son, died. Second son died. Do you understand? Even in Nigerian this day, you will not let the person marry your third son. It's just the reality, no matter what. No matter what. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he just promised her, but he didn't intend to keep his promise. That was just honestly. He just promised her. And then the third son grew up, and then eventually, the third son was of age. All right. And she now knew that the third son was of age. And Judah didn't keep his promise. So what she did is that she took off her widow's clothes, because widows actually had to wear a certain attire to know that they are widows. Took off her widow's clothes and dressed in a prostitute. She dressed as a prostitute back then. Not the way you were using prostitutes. The prostitutes even there were well dressed, if I'm being very honest. But let's just say she was dressed like a prostitute. And so apparently Judah's wife actually just died. So feeling lonely and everything, he saw her. He saw her. He didn't even know it was her. And then he asked to sleep with her. She said, you know what? What would you pay me if I sleep with you? He said he'll pay her, I think, sheep or something. And then she said, you know what? No problem. But to honor your this thing, because to honor what you said, I would like for you to give me something. He said, no problem. What do you want? He said, give me your staff, give me it's like a string, and give me your seal. The string is attached to the seal. Now, in Judaism culture, your staff is your authority. All right. Your staff is your identity, rather. Your staff is your identity, who you are. So that staff was a mark that showed, okay, this is a man of Judah. This is Judah. Do you understand who you are? The seal was like your authority. Wherever your seal is where where your power is. And the string was more or less, I can't remember what the string signified, but you understand, stealing his identity, stealing his authority. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so it was strategic. She wasn't just stealing random things. She was stealing things that meant something signified to him in his culture. And so she took it, and so he slept. And trust God. God honored such a union. They didn't just give birth to one, give birth to twins. Kaya. Give birth to twins. And just before she was about to give birth, obviously, Judah went back home and everything. And they now told Judah that she's pregnant. And Judah, somebody that because mind you, in all of this, Judah did not know that was Tamar. He did not know. He thought it was just a random prostitute. And he even tried to pay her, but she wasn't around anymore. And then, what just was so bad for him was that he now got enraged. Who is she? What a harlot. Da, 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 da. He didn't say all these things, but he was very enraged. How would she, sleep with somebody else and get pregnant? And he even called her to be stoned. I know what the babe just did. Smart babe. I love babes like this. She didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She just said, you know what? Take the string. It's not the name of the string. I'm just calling it the string. Take the strings, take the seals, take the staff. And say, send it to Judah. That whoever owns this thing, this is the father of the child. And immediately Judah saw it. He just said, this woman is more righteous than I. Cancel the entire thing. Go back home. He took her in. He didn't marry her, but he took her in as kind of like a wife. Didn't sleep with her ever again, but just took care of her. In other words, he became responsible. There are too many things I could draw from this, but we're already 13 minutes in and I'll try to rush. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because I don't even know why, to be very honest. I'm just thinking about it. I could draw a lot of, things from the story. But like I said, we're already 13 minutes in. But just to listen to me, Tamar is one of the smartest. Because I feel like there are so many brilliant women in the Bible. There's Tamar, there's Rahab, there's Deborah, there's Ruth, there's Abigail. Let's not even begin to go into this. And do you know what the most interesting thing? Tamar is an ancestor of Jesus. So from such strife, now think about it. What if she gave up? What if she didn't do anything? What if she just left? You see, things that look like evil, the lineage of God came from them. This is one thing God is trying to signal to you. There's nothing too bad you've done that God cannot use. God used lies, deceit, death, murder to still raise his son. Then who are you that God cannot save you? Listen, I don't know who's listening to this. You think that you are a murderer. You think that you've done the worst of the worst. I'm telling you that your Lord, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, his lineage is tainted with evil people. Correction, not evil people. People that did evil things. David is part of that lineage if you want to know. David, that's we've gone over David. But do you understand? So please, don't ever think you're too far gone. The lie that you told is not bigger than what people have done. That God has forgiven them. God has forgiven murderers. God has forgiven rapists. God has forgiven idolaters. You're not too small for God. You're not too big for God. You're not too evil for God. Turn to God today and He will accept you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.